What's going on, dudes and dudettes? Sean here from Hammerhead. I thought I'd go live tonight. I'm going to start going live on Sunday nights if everyone wants to chip in or tune in. Tonight we're talking about low budget, low buck, low rent ideas to make your hot rod faster for no money. So I've been checking on the interwebs, looking at ways to make the truck faster and still have it a street truck and reliable, which is like, fast, reliable, cheap, pick any two kind of deal, right? But anyway, I've decided that I'm going to go with some forced induction. Not a supercharger because they're $5,000 in Canada. I can't afford that. I'm a cheap SOB. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to do a low buck, do it yourself, either twin turbo or single turbo setup on the old girl. And I think I know how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to buy a kit because I was checking on eBay. The cheapest kit you can get is, by the time it lands here in Canada, is $1,700. And you're still going to have to buy a whole whack of stuff. So that's out. So I think what I'm going to do is I've got a couple of old truck Ford cast iron manifolds, and I'm going to turn them around so that they face forward. And then I'm going to build my own flanges from there out to where they'll fit in the fenders and put two T3 turbochargers on there and just do a low boost setup because you guys know I'm running pretty high compression. Well, not really, 10 to 1. So I'm going to do a low 5 PSI, 6 PSI budget twin turbo setup. Non-intercooled at first, but then probably intercool it down the road for more boost. That should put me somewhere in the realm of around 500 at the flywheel-ish. So with the upgrades I did to the transmission, that'll be fine. Now, the very first thing I'm going to do this year is I've got a 8.8 rear end out of a 94 Ford Explorer. It's a 31 spline axle. And it's already got the perches and spring or the shock locations re-welded. It's in the green race truck I have there, the green bastard. I'm going to rob that and put it in the Ranger, my black truck. So that thing there will handle any amount of power I want to put to it pretty much within reason. With that, I would like to see a set of Cal-Track bars on there, adjustable, and maybe like a 275 low profile, like a Nito or something, drag radial under there, 15-inch, to give me a little more transfer. I'm also going to lower the truck by flipping the shackles on the back. That should give me a 2-inch drop. And a set of lowering coils on the front should give me about 2 inches, I guess. See, the problem with the twin I-beam suspension on those Gen 1 Rangers is the fact that in order to lower them any amount, you got to use a drop spindle. Now, I've never used a drop spindle. They're quite expensive if you can find them. And I've heard from a wheel alignment friend of mine that they are a miserable SOB to try and get lined up with it properly. Like the camber adjustments and the toe adjustments are miserable. So I think I'm just going to try the lowering springs. If I can find a set of shocks that will allow me more weight transfer. See, with the Rangers and the trucks, the mini trucks, they're so light. The transfer, you want to get when you mash the gas, whether you're on the two-step or whatever, you want the truck to go back like that, and that'll transfer the weight back to the light bed of a mini truck because there's usually not much weight back there. Well, you want something that'll transfer the weight back so the tires will bite. But you don't want too much bite. You want a little bit of spin too. So what I'm going to do is I'll have to get the drive shaft that I have now reworked, but I'm going to stay with a 1310 U-joint. And they're a smaller U-joint, and my logic behind this is I'd rather have the U-joints blow into a gazillion pieces than to break the tail housing off the back of my T5, because that'd kind of suck. I mean, you can get them around out here, but yeah, sorry for Tech Life. I have a shitty internet, so it's going to probably drop in and out. But anyway, to get the weight transfer right, I'd like to get something like a drag shock or something like a 90-10 maybe, that might allow the transfer a little better, so I can get a little better bite on the rear wheels. So twin turbo, I did the math already with what I have. I'm going to use a MSD 6340 or 50 with a manual knob to retard the timing. And I'm going to start at... my truck right now is at 36 degrees all in. That's not counting the vacuum advance. So I'm going to take a total of 10 degrees out for 6 PSI of boost of timing with that box. And if I do that, I did the math the other day, I'm going to be right around 475, 480 flywheels. So that should make the thing scramble. And I'm also going to rename the truck, boys. The truck has an official name now. It's called Sketchy. That's going to be my new truck name, is Sketchy. So I'm going to get a sticker made up to put on the back window. It says Sketchy. That's the only sticker I'm going to run on the outside of it. Yeah, brake joints would be better. Yeah, Ford Tech. I think it was my connection. Yeah, it could be, but mine's pretty sucky too, dude. But anyway, that's going to be what's going to happen. Also, I want to get some sort of paint job on the thing. Nothing too flashy. I might only end up getting into primer this year. But I do have a paint code in mind, and it's something you guys haven't seen before. It's way back. It's way back there in 72. It's a Toyota color. So anyway, I've got some ideas for that. I've been pricing up what it would cost me to build a turbo kit. I think I can get it done for, I'm going to say 2,500 Canadian, because remember, my American brothers, that everything here in Canada is about twice as much by the time you get it here. So I'm going to use the truck manifolds, flip them over. I'm going to get a couple of T3 flanges from Summit Racing, make my own hot side come up, put the turbos where they need to be, 2.5-inch exhaust coming down under the truck into a 3-inch piece, and then run that back with a wide band in there so I can keep the air-fuel ratio where I need it to be. The 650 double pumper that's on the truck right now, I'm going to convert that over to a blow-through setup. It's not that hard to do. A friend of mine has done those before, so he can show me what to do. I'm going to run a pig rich at first up the jets so that I know where the AFR is. I'd really not like to blow this up if I can help it, but I mean, whatever. I mean, if I do, I do, but I'd rather not. There's a guy in Moncton. If I can get the truck over to him, I would like to get him to put it on his dyno, and then I can really figure out the timing and all that on there. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of a cool idea. I think I can get this done fairly cheap. I don't think, like if I was to buy a turbo kit right now, $1,700, and I'd have to buy a whole shitload of stuff to make it work. The good thing about blow-through, boys, is that it's easier. All you need is a carb hat. You need a hot side and a cold side, and you need oil lines to get feed oil into the turbos, and then good like a 10 AN drain into each side of the oil of the oil pan to drain the oil out. So, and there might be other things too that I don't know about. Like I might have to put a restrictor in the oil lines because I'm running a high volume pump. Possibly might have an issue there. Maybe some of you guys that have done this before on a V8 can tell me. I've had turbo V4s, like 4-cylinder stuff before. I've had supercharged vehicles before, but never a V8. So this will be kind of new ground for me. Open to all ideas, actually. I'm not, you know, but the main thing that I've seen is I'm going to be running 91 octane pump fuel. So I got to keep the timing sensible, i.e. enough retard to not detonate. And I got to keep the fueling right, which shouldn't be a problem for me. Because, hey, it's Colonel Sanders, it's Admiral Sandwich in the house. What's going on, man? And I want to just use a boost reference fuel pump that's like a 1-to-1, and then run a line from there up to my carb hat. So whenever I'm under boost, what should happen in that setup is the fuel pressure will rise 1 psi for every pound of boost you've got in the engine. So I've got a pump right now that's capable of 14 psi and 255 gallons or liters per hour. It's a high flowing pump, and I will have a boost reference on it so that it will up the fuel pressure at a 1-to-1 ratio. Every pound of boost, another pound of fuel pressure. But the carburetor doesn't see that and blow it all out through the vent tubes, because it only sees the regular pressure, 6 pounds, because you got a hat on there, right? And your hat's pressurized. So I'm not even sure if I'll have to run with a nitrofill, like a plastic float in it. Some guys say yes for 6 pounds. Other guys say no. I probably should just go ahead and change them, because eventually, you know what happens with forced induction. For those of you that don't, you get the old manual boost controller in there and you start tweaking, right? And the next thing you know, you've lifted ahead. So we're gonna put it to her, boys, and just see what happens. We'll start off conservative, and once we get the tune dialed in, we'll friggin' see how she goes. I'd like to get this truck down to, right now I'm figuring on motor, and the motor's pretty stout. It's probably high 12s. I think if I get this turbo set up working right and I can hook, I should be able to get it into the 11s, fairly low 11s, with a good set of drag radials or slicks, right? I do have a set of weld wheels for it with drag slicks. But anyway, it's a daily driver. It's my hot rod. It's a daily driver. It's not a race truck, so I don't want to go too crazy with it. But I think if properly tuned turbo setup, if I'm not in the boost all the time, it should run pretty much like an NA setup. I might even end up getting a couple more miles per gallon when I'm in overdrive on the highway. I'm not sure how that will work. Yeah, Ford Tech goes, then you stud the head. Yeah, I'm running ARP head bolts right now, but you're right, man. Studs are the answer if you're going to run any amount of boost through them. Everyone says the block splits at 500 horsepower, but you know what? I know some guys that have got some pretty serious small block Fords. They've ran 600 flywheel and haven't broken the block yet. It all depends on your tune. I think the tune's everything, really. If you can get it so it doesn't, the thing that kills small block Fords is the detonation. If you know, no engine's going to stay alive if it's being hammered internally. And the small block Ford, they're prone to detonating. Like, I don't know if it's the block deck height or the quench or the design of it, but they like to hammer, right? So I'm going to have to, high 11s, yeah, shit, I'll take it all day long, buddy. Even low 12s. I mean, for what it is, like I said, I don't have $8,000 into the whole truck yet, boys. So if I can get this thing into the high 11s, I'd be tickled pink. You know, even low 12s would be still pretty cool, I think. But whatever. What do you guys think? Anyway, I got another story. I met this dude this week that lives in Alabama. Okay, and he's running an 86 Ranger with a 351 Windsor, and he's using a single T6 turbocharger out of a semi truck. I swear to God, I'm going to have him on here as a guest, and he'll tell you about his setup. And he was running 15 pounds of boost through this thing, and there's a video of it on YouTube. I'll put it in the description for this channel. You guys should go check him out. I think his channel is called Fast Mustangs or something. But anyway, he's going 70 miles an hour on 15 pounds of boost, and the truck decides it's going to go left, and I mean left, and he barely was able to get it back straight again. I don't know how he didn't roll the friggin' thing, man. But anyway, it's a cool ghetto setup he's got there. He's got the engine out right now. I'm not sure what exactly he's doing, but he's doing something else with it. But I'll put the link in the description. You guys should go check out his channel. Give him a sub. He's a cool cat. I've had discussions with him all week there about turbo stuff. But anyway, the forced induction bug was bound to hit me sooner or later. It just sucks that it's winter. You guys all seen my last video. Like, I'm buried here, man. Like, I fired the Ranger up today though in the garage, and I ran it up to 170 degrees. And you know, just it's good to keep the friggin' this guy's garage, Sean, right on, man. Thanks for coming on. There's Kim too. Wow. But anyway, he was going he was going down the interstate, and he has this tractor trailer turbo, this great big T6 thing there, and he was on 15 pounds of boost, and she decided she was going to start going left. And I guess he said he had to check his diaper out, unfill his diaper at the end of it. But anyway, it's a pretty cool little setup. And I couldn't understand the logistics. Like the AR should be all off, but he was saying, well, a semi-engine, like a diesel, turns at like 2,000 RPM. So for whatever reason, it works with a V8 Ford. I don't ask me how it works, but it does work. But anyway, we're planning a cheapo forced induction setup for the truck. Like I said, we're going to do it all ghetto. I got a friend who's a good welder, and he's a fabricator. He's going to help me out with the hot side. See, that's the tricky part. The problem with my engine in a Ranger, in a Fox body, you could put a man in between the fender wells and the coil towers. Like, there's lots of room. And my truck in the Ranger, the steering box is about that far, the steering shaft, from the header. So there's no room for all these fancy hot side, like a J pipe, I think guys call it, or a Y pipe that connects the two exhausts together. I don't have the room for that. So this is why I'm thinking twins. If I use old truck Ford cast iron manifolds, they hug the block. Like there's lots of room there. I'll just turn the sucker around, and I'll build a flange out to a T3 turbo flange, and I'll mount the two twins right there. Then all I got to do basically is figure out where to put my pipes to get them under the truck. I could even go through those plastic fender wells and around the frame and under. I don't care how I do it, but I'll find a way to do it. And then I just got to do the cold side, which shouldn't be a problem. For 6 pounds, I don't think I'm going to need to intercool it yet. But if I turn it up, I definitely am going to need an air-to-air or air-to-water intercooler of some sort. I don't want to put it in the bed of the truck, but I may. If I need intercooling, rather than sending a rod through the hood, maybe it might be a good idea to intercool it. Because that's the thing I don't like about turbos, is that they put a lot of oil, a lot of heat into the oil, and a lot of heat into the engine bay, which is generally not cool on components. Yeah, I was thinking about a rear mount turbo, Sean, but I get looking at the cost of running all those pipes, and yeah, it adds quite a bit to the price. And not only that, there's a bit of lag involved because of the length of the charge pipe. But with that setup, you don't need an intercooler, because the longer length of the charge pipe kind of is an intercooler, especially if it's under the truck. See, I still want to be able to use the bed of the truck to pick up like ATVs and dirt bikes, and because that's kind of what I do, right? But in any case, I want all your cool ideas. So if you guys have done this, I know Sean's done forced induction. I don't know who else in here has, but I know Sean has. Give me your ideas, man, because I think that she'll take it. I think she'll take the engine runs so good NA that I think she'll take a 6 PSI low boost turbo setup. And I'm not thinking about the horsepower, because to me, horsepower doesn't really matter that much to me. Torque. With a turbo, you pick up gobs and gobs of torque, and that's what the 5-liter engine lacks the most. The small block Ford, anyway, lacks. It's not up to par on torque with some of the other engines, right? So the turbo will definitely help in the torque arena, I'm thinking, right? But anyway, yeah, this should be interesting, because it's going to be a learning curve, but it should be definitely worth a subscription, I think. So anyway, what else is going on tonight? Not too much. Talked to my brother for a few minutes. It's -10 here. He's out there barbecuing. He was burning his hands on his frozen burgers he was putting on the barbecue. So I was laughing at him a bit. The dog's sitting here having a nap. I got a good fire going in the fireplace. You can see in the back there, she's burning pretty good. It's about 26 degrees in here right now. So I've become what is commonly known in these parts as a wood stove pussy. Basically, it means that I like the wood heat so much, and when I go outside for even 2 seconds to like hook the dog onto his leash, I come back all cold, But I used to work up in the Arctic, and I used to work in Norman Wells in Baffin Island, and It was friggin' minus 57 the winter I was up in Norman, and I had the night shift. I worked 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and minus 57, boys, all night. I was running a Kenworth 6x6 wrecker with a mechanic shop on the back, and then a 10,000 liter diesel tank on the very back. And it was something else. I don't miss that kind of cold, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, so just checking out, and I was checking out some stuff on Sean's channel there, this guy's garage, my buddy Sean. If you guys are doing paint and body work, go check his videos out, because he's got a bunch of really good, cool tips on like cheapo Amazon paint guns and stuff like that, and some good bodywork tips there. He was doing some stuff I was checking out. Looks cool. I'm interested in that type of thing, because I'm going to be painting my own truck this summer. So anything he can do to do some of the groundwork as far as what works for a cheap paint gun setup, I'm on board for that. So check some of his latest videos out. He's got some cool ones there. So what else is happening, boys? I live up here in the mountains and don't get out too much. I was in town there today for the first time in forever, right? You know, I let the dew cover me, you know, and I don't get to town too much. So you know, it's people look at me weird because they think Christmas has come early. Santa Claus is coming into town to tell them whether they've been naughty or nice, right? But anyway, so what else is happening? Yeah, right on. So yeah, so I'll put the link to those boys' channels in the description here. What do you guys think of my Yamaha B snowblower? It's quite a machine, eh? I've only used it twice, and the last time I fired that sucker up, you see in the video, it basically will push snow 100 feet in the air on full tilt. We had a fairly good load, but there was so much snow last time that I had to actually slow the tracks down, because it was starting to get to the point where it was dragging that engine down further and further all the time, even though it wasn't really wet. But it's a pretty cool thing. It's definitely better than the Briggs and Scrap Iron one that I did have. You go out there and you get that son of a bitch going, and next thing you know, it would throw all the bolts for the impeller about 300 feet in the air, and then it wouldn't work, and oh, it was my arch nemesis. So I've retired that old girl, and got this other one. Tomorrow, Sean says, I'm checking my paint gun getting tested. Right on. Ford Tech Life, enjoying my weekend. Yeah, cool, right on, man. I'm glad you're enjoying your weekend. Everybody should. Mine sucked this week. Yeah. Sean he's up in Cape Breton. He gets a lot more snow, or as much snow as we get up here in the mountain. They generally get more up there, but that's one thing that we're no strangers to here in Canada, Kanakistan, I should say. So, but anyway, yeah. So I'm going to start doing these regular Sunday night 8-9 p.m. time slots. Any of you guys out there want to come on with me? Just let me know. I'll send you a link to this stream right here, and then when you join, I'll click you on. I'm using StreamYard because Sean turned me on to this. It'll stream right to YouTube, right to your channel, and you can have guests on, and you can share your screen. You can do a whole bunch of different things. You don't have to pay for it either. There is an option to pay for like a paid subscription, but there's a free one. You just sign up, and then you can just go right to your friggin' it'll stream right to your YouTube channel. So we could have like 4 of us, not with my crappy internet, but with Sean's internet or whoever's. We could have 4 or 5 people on here, have conversations and back and forth, right? But anyway, yeah. So a friend of mine's making T-shirts. She can make custom shirts. So I've got a couple in the works right now. And I'm getting one made right now that's black with white letters on it, and it says $4.59. I'm out of here, bitches. So I'm going to wear that next time I'm into work and see what the boss thinks of that. But he'll laugh because he's a pretty good head. But she's got all kinds of these crazy sayings that she can write on a T-shirt. So I'm going to get a few of them comical ones made for that. I'm going to get another one that says, "Oh, China, our home with commies on our land," and wear that down into the heart of liberal land here and see what they think of that. But anyway, it should be, if I do that and wear that shirt out in public, I'll probably take a video camera with me and get some video of that. You guys might find that comical. There is a watermark on the screen for StreamYard. I wasn't aware. Oh yeah, I guess there is. Powered by StreamYard. Yeah. Ah well, it's a mallard duck. It's a pretty comical looking duck. That'll work. As long as it's not right across my face or anything, is it? Not that that wouldn't be an improvement, but is it right across my face, Colonel? Colonel Sanders. Admiral Sanders. Or Admiral Sandwich, I should say. Nope, he said. Okay, good. Anyway, yeah. So the idea is to keep this thing fairly low budget, $2,500. That's my budget for this. So I'm going to have to do a lot of fabricating, a lot of scrounging, a lot of Amazon, a lot of eBay deals. The turbos I'm going to use are GT35s. They're pretty small. They're a T3 turbo, but two of them should be good for 700 horsepower, and the block will split long before it gets to that point. So if you guys want to know what the trim is on those, try to eat cupcake and type. 0.63 and 0.50 AR on those turbos. So they're good for 700 horsepower. They're the cheapo Chinese ones, but we're going to put her together cheap. And if I like forced induction with this setup, like I think I'm gonna, I'll eventually spring for some better turbos on it, like some Garrett's or some Turbonetics or one of those name brand ones. But really, guys, I heard people talk on the interwebs all the time about these Chinese ones. And yeah, the problems are shitty gas. No friggin' kidding. We got 91 octane, boys, here in Canada. That's as high as we can get. I think in Quebec, Petro-Canada, they have 93. I think it is, Sean, or 92. Anyway, that's as good as she gets. So if you need good gas, you have to buy those cans of race gas. It's like a concentrate. And then you add so much of it into like 10 liters or 20 liters of fuel, and it'll up the octane based on how much of that concentrate you put in there. You can have 120 octane fuel or 110 octane, but you got to use a lot of this race gas. But I was always told just use enough octane to avoid detonation on whatever you're running. But it might not be a bad idea until I get the tune right on this thing to dump a can or two of that in there to raise that octane up a little bit. And I likely will do that. It's not a $100,000 Nelson racing engine, boys, but you know, I don't want to blow my shit up if I can help it. Yeah. 500 wheel is about the size of it on 91. Yeah, well, I don't want any more than that anyway, Sean. Like, think about this. 500 wheel in an 84 Ranger. I don't know if you've ever driven in one of those over 100 miles an hour, but I'll tell you something. It is a sketchy proposition. That's why I've renamed the trucks. Her new name is Sketchy. I said this at the beginning of the stream. The name of my truck now, boys, is Sketchy. I'm going to have that on a sticker on the back window because it's going to be sketchy. But anyway, it's not, let's put it this way. You can definitely tell if you have any worn suspension pieces, like, and you're in a leaf spring vehicle because it does the old, it's not quite sure what it should do. It's kind of settling, but it doesn't quite know what to do when you get over those speeds. And of course, it's a Ford, so the steering wheel, you move it about that much in order to get any input into the steering wheel at all or into the tires at all. But anyway, Sketchy is my new truck. Yeah, William goes, my 2011 Ranger is sketchy at 90. Is that right? Wow. Yeah, definitely sketchy. But anyway, to live up to its name. I want to make the truck fast enough that I can shit myself when I drive it. If you're not shitting yourself on a regular basis, you're not into, hey Jody, you're not into something that's fast enough, in my opinion. If you don't have at least one holy shit moment during your test drive, then you're not in the right rig for you. You should tremble a little bit when you get out of it. So that, and I could justify the cost of maybe putting a cage in it. I've got a gentleman up the road here who could weld a cage in that truck, no problem, or at least a hoop. Because I don't know if you guys know about the early Rangers, but they're basically a beer can with a box on the back. There's nothing to them. That's why they're so bloody light. Mine weighs 2660, so they're light as hell because there's no metal in them. So if you think about what would happen, boys, if you rolled one of them things, how much of a beer can it would turn into. So it'd definitely be worth putting some sort of metal in, even a half a hoop without the down bars. But he can do whatever I need it to do. So we'll get it super sketchy first, and then we'll worry about everything else. Like most sane people, they'll build a truck by building the suspension up and putting really good brakes on it and doing all the other stuff to it, and then worrying about putting power to it. Well, I'm kind of the opposite. I put like an insane amount of horsepower in it, and then I find out where the weak spots are and try to gradually reinforce them until I've done everything right. But in all honesty, it's got really good brakes. And when I step up from the 7.5 to the 8.8, I go from a 9-inch to a 10-inch drum, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in reality, that's quite a bit more brake. So it should help slow the truck down quite a bit. The brakes work good, but they're manual brakes. So you got to put your foot into them to stop, but you will stop. Jody, I almost died in a Ranger that flipped. If you're doing any kind of racing, put a cage in it. Good point. Good point. See, because they're beer cans. Like the early S10s are the same way. There's no metal in them. Like I think they're a little heavier built than the Ranger. I don't know. I haven't really been in too many S10s, but they're a pop can on wheels essentially. So, but that's why it makes a cheap hot rod, because they're light. You don't need like gobs of horsepower to make it fast, right? Just enough. But I mean, the truck's pretty good now, to be honest with you, but it's like boost, like you get so much in there, like, oh wow, 7 pounds is amazing. I wonder what 10 pounds is like. So you try that for a bit. And it's like, okay, well, let's see what 14 does. So you put 14 in it. You're like, oh, that's crazy. That's incredible. And you just keep twisting and twisting and twisting until you blow the friggin' rods through the hood, right? But in any case, I think 500 flywheel would be more than adequate. My dear old dad probably wouldn't think that, but you can't win friends and influence people by playing it safe. Like I said, I want a vehicle that I can shit myself once in a while when I'm driving it. That way I know I'm alive, right? It gets your attention. So that's kind of the idea. Yeah. What is it? What does he say? Yeah, some S10s or S15s. Yeah, I forgot about the S15. I guess that a S10 with like a, I don't know, like a small half cab or something in the back of it. I'm not too familiar with the Chevy stuff. Jody, yeah, boost. It's like drugs. You want to hit, but afraid of the consequences. Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, hey, why not? I'm not worried about breaking it because I know it'll hold it as long as I stay sensible with the tune. As good a gas as I can get. The 8.8 rear end. The transmission will hold that power because I've beefed it up this summer. So yeah, I'll feed it to her. And 6 pounds, like I said, is going to put me right around 475, 450 with what I got right now. So I don't know what that means with a T5 rear wheel horsepower, but more than enough, I think, for what I got. But I think a set of Caltrac bars, maybe some polyurethane bushings, a little better suspension, like shocks, might help a little bit with that. I don't know if I'm going to need a rear sway bar or not. It may help, it may not. I guess sway bars do work, but I don't know on a Gen 1 Ranger if that's going to work. I don't plan on doing too much autocross with this thing. Just basically hot rod, straight line blasts and stopping her, right? Um, I might ditch the side pipes, much to everybody's chagrin, I'm sure, just because the simple reason that they don't flow very well, because they're a glass packed muffler, and there's a lot of shit in there that impedes the flow. What I might do is come straight out of the header, or the turbo pipe, and go straight back, and just let the turbos be the muffler. But if I didn't do that, I'd probably get a set of Flowmaster 40s or something like that, and like a 2.5 inch exhaust, and just like dump it before the rear axle. I wouldn't have them coming right out the tail or anything, but anyway, yeah. So far, it doesn't wheel hop. Like, I've gotten into it before. I've launched it like 3,500, and she spins, but she doesn't hop. She'll spin a bit, quite a bit, and then when I shift into seconds, she'll spin and chirp and then grab. Yeah, Jody, I'm thinking about doing a budget do-it-yourself twin turbo setup with a set of T3 turbochargers, a low boost, like 6 psi, and see if I can get some torque, some more torque happening. I'm gonna, like I was telling the boys, I'm gonna rename the truck Sketchy, so she's got to live up to her name. So if I can, do something like that, and try and keep the price down below $2,500 Canadian, which I'll tell you, it sounds like a lot of money, boys. And I know you guys know this because you're gearheads too, but it isn't really. Everything in Canada costs about 10 times more than it does in the States. So I'm planning on doing it myself. I got another friend, that'll help me, Tim Keddy. He's going to help me do the fabrication. He's a good welder and fabricator, and we're going to see if we can put something together. Now, he has a Garrett T3 turbo that I can buy off of him for $50. That's in good shape. So I may buy that Garrett turbocharger from him and then buy another one, like a new one, and then do it that way rather than using the eBay turbos. We're just going to have to see what parts are available. But I've shined the Sketchy symbol, the bat symbol, in the air so that all the gearheads around here can see that I'm looking for turbo parts. So there's bound to be somebody crawl out from under a rock with something. That's generally what happens. You put the word out, and it's kind of a there he is, Kick-Ass Mustangs Garage. There he is. But this is the guy I was telling you about, lads. I'll put a link in the description. Go check out his channel. Give him a sub. He's a cool dude. He's the guy that put the semi turbo in his Ranger. I was telling him about your 15 psi blast going down the road, and her getting a little bit crazy on you there, buddy. Yeah, it says, what did Colonel Admiral Sandwich say? Let me move up to Canada and turn 2,500 into 25,000. Yeah, come on up, William. I'll sell you a piece of land up here, and in exchange for hot rod help. And what is Sean saying here? I know a guy got a single cable of 700. Oh, single capable of 700. Yeah, I was thinking about a single, Sean, but with the Ranger, I don't think I'm going to have room for a Y pipe, because I don't know if you know, but on the driver's side where the steering shaft comes down, there's no room. Like, even with the headers I have now, I've got like an inch like an inch and a half tops. So that's why I was going to turn a set of truck manifolds around, because the 351 ones, the exit on one of them is like that. So it'd be right by my alternator, and I could build the hot side off of that with a T5 or T3 flange right there, make a set of twins. It would be easier. Then once you have that done, all you got to do is run your exhaust pipes out of the back of them. You've already got the spool figured out on the hot side just by coming right straight out of the manifolds. But the cold side is not going to be an issue at all. It's just the hot side. It's getting things to clear. Like they're just so tight, man. Like, I mean, the truck's never meant to have a V8 configured engine in there. They came with like a 2 liter or 2.3 was the biggest engine you could get in them for the longest time. But they also came, boys, I know Sean knows this, but they came with a diesel engine in some of those early Rangers. That'd be cool to find, an original diesel Ranger, right? Use it as like a winter beater. But anyway, yeah. So that's kind of the plan. Definitely forced induction, definitely turbocharger. I was going to go with nitrous, but I don't know. I can get the bottle filled up. It's $12 a pound here in Nova Scotia. Problem with it is, unless you have a really good tune on nitrous, you have to keep changing the bottle a lot before it's empty in order to keep the same consistency, because the bottle pressure goes up and down so much. So your 100 shot this hour may not be the same an hour later. You know what I mean? Because of all the different fluctuations. But with a turbocharger, pretty much boost is boost. You know what I mean? Airflow in the motor is airflow. And where I think that this engine's going to really like boost is the fact of the heads that I have on it now. With all the porting I've done to them and stuff, they're really going to like extra airflow. So I think she'll give that friggin' crankshaft one hell of a shove. I think I get enough air in there. So things should get interesting. It's definitely going to be sketchy. Bottle heater, yes, it's a must-have with a nitrous setup. You got to keep that. I think Nitrous Express likes it around 950 to 1,000 psi. And on a cool night, the bottle pressure can fall off, and then your shot is like, it's not consistent. Like, you're not getting the full charge. So what you're trying to do with nitrous, you're trying to convert that liquid to a gas and get that gas to shoot in with the extra fuel you're adding to it. A lot of people think that nitrous is a fuel. It's not. It's an oxidizer. You're getting an extra oxygen atom in there. So with that, you can burn more fuel. But it has to be consistent, or else your tune goes up and down. And it's the cheapest way to make power. There's no question. But I think I plan on never selling this truck. So I'm going to drive it right into the ground. So I think I'll invest probably in a ghetto turbo. And it'll give some great content for this channel. I'm sure you guys will like my hijinks and like to know what I'm up to while I'm building this. And of course, I'll be giving you regular updates. If the friggin' COVID horse shit ever stops and goes away, I may be able to get this truck down to the racetrack at some point and get it timed, which is what I want to do. I wanted to do that last year, but everything was closed down. I think the truck right now is capable of high 12s the way it sits. I'm shooting for mid 11s. I'd be happy with, even high 11s on boost, 6 pounds. So that would make me very happy if I could accomplish that. Then it's time to put some sort of a cage in it. And I just want to run it down to the track just to see what the tune's like. I was actually going to contact you at some point too, Sean. If I do pull this off, maybe I could convince you to help me trailer it up to that guy in Moncton, and we could put it on the dyno and get the setup fine-tuned so that I don't blow it up. I'm sure that guy knows what the air-fuel ratios and timing should be for a setup like that. Like a safer tune kind of deal, right? The beards are safe, yeah. Yeah, I'll just have to grow my beard extra long so that whenever the truck crushes me down, the beard will hit the floor pan and keep it from going the rest of the way. But anyway, the beards are safe. That'll be a good t-shirt logo, actually. Picture of me with, it says the beards are safe. But anyway, yeah, you guys aren't the first clowns to friggin' suggest that I may or may not be Santa Claus, by the way. So don't think you are. I would think you'd be very close to low 12s, if not. No, I wouldn't say I'm in the 11s, Jody, but I would definitely say I'm in the 12s with where the truck is right now, NA. And of course, it all depends on the tune. But the problem with the Ranger, as my buddy there will tell you, is that traction is extremely limited in these trucks. You put a lot of power to them, and they generally don't like it too much unless you can get it to hook somehow. Now, he was running, I think he had 400 pounds of bricks or like patio stone or something in the back of it, and that would help quite a bit. But it sort of defeats the whole purpose of building a lightweight truck. So I'm thinking that the 8.8 rear end with the traction lock, okay, with 373 gears or 356s, I think, or what's in it now, 355s, will definitely help with a sticky set of drag radials on the back, will definitely help with traction. You don't want it to hook too much either, Jody, because the T5 transmission doesn't like that. They're kind of the weak link, as a lot of guys will tell you. Now mine is beefed up, and I'm running an 11-inch clutch with bigger bolts in the pressure plate, so that will help. But yeah, Caltrax will definitely be a help. I'm thinking too. But mine doesn't hop. But if you're running a lot of boost, if you're running boost in the thing, it may start hopping. So I think a set of Caltrax would be the way to go. But also, like I was saying earlier in my podcast here, or whatever you want to call it, my bullshit session. If I could get weight transfer, like right now, the springs are so stiff on the front that when you nail it, it doesn't do this. You kind of, with a mini truck, you kind of want the weight to come to the back as much as you can. So maybe if I put a set of 90-10 drag shocks on the front, or like a different coil spring with like a lower rate, I could get the weight to transfer more when I nail it, and it would help get the rear tires to dig in a little harder, right? But anyway, I'm not a suspension expert. Lots of guys on this podcast here tonight, including Sean and a few others, would know more about that stuff than I would. But all I know is what a buddy of mine told me is spinning ain't winning, man. And it's true. I mean, that's why you see sometimes if you guys watch Street Outlaws, you'll see these really super high horsepower friggin' cars, like these ones with these twin screw blowers on it. They're making like 4,000 horsepower, and they're smoking the tires all the way down the track. And then you'll get a guy with a big block Chevy with like 800 horse, and he'll blow by him like he's not even moving, because buddy knows how to get his power down. And the guy with the blower, car's making gobs of power, but he can't get it down on the surface, right? So what's Sean saying here? Drag radials and manual transmissions don't mix. Yeah, it's actually in the sales literature from Mickey Thompson. I have no doubt about that. Yeah, because like the only thing that keeps the T5 alive is the fact that it slips some. But we'll figure something out. Yeah, the mini truck's a whole different deal. You know, like, I don't know, maybe the Mustang guys have that problem too. I'm not sure if they have problems with traction or not. I'm sure they probably do, but their cars seem to hook a little better than the mini trucks do. But I have seen some videos on the internet where they hook like a bastard. There was one little Ranger there, I think it was a 97, and it was a twin turbo, and he was rattling off like high 8 quarter miles. And the truck it was 3 feet in the air, man, when he left on the trans brake. But again, he was running an automatic. He wasn't running standard. But I'll tell you a guy, though, that does is 50 Tussin on YouTube. He basically is running the same type engines we are, like small block Ford, with a T5, manual clutch, with a 2-step, and he's leaving at like 4,500 RPM, and the car's going 2 feet in the air. And he power shifts it. He holds the right foot to the floor and power shifts it. And he's done thousands of passes, and the things stay together like magic. And I basically followed his recipe whenever I beefed up the T5 in my truck. Billet shift keys, a billet cluster support, and some other mods to help it stay together. And go check his channel out. You want to see. He's running low 7s, high 6, 8th mile. So that's like a low 11s in the quarter. Yeah, Rodney. Yeah, you know, man. You know who I'm talking about. 50 Tussin, Rodney. He basically shut his channel down, which is a damn shame, because I used to like watching his stuff to get tips on how to set things up and how to build things. But Rodney actually contacted me, and he stole an idea. He was kind of curious about what I was doing with the Flowtech heads. So he went and got a set of Flowtechs, and he put it on one of his cars, and he followed some of the same porting things I did to mine. Because I guess he watched the video where I was showing people what the flow numbers were on the flow bench, and he liked that. So yeah, that little LTD, the little bank robber car, man, he got that son of a bitch moving, didn't he? And when I was talking to him, he was telling me that the springs that he had to use in those heads were like ridiculous pressures, because the fact that he had a 2-step and he was revving it up so high. Like the dude was hitting 6,800 RPM on those shifts, when he was really moving. Nimrod, yeah, Nimrod too. He's got that other red Mustang there. The hell do they call it? shit, I forget the name of that one. It's like McMuffin or Mick something or other. But anyway, yeah, cool guy. So that's why I know that the T5 will hold together, even power shifted. But he's good at power shifting. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anybody hammer a manual box like that guy does. But in any case, we're not going to go that drastic because, but the thing I like about Rodney is the fact that he drives everything he's got to and from the track. He doesn't trailer it. He drives it there. And I think he's he's down in Florida. I think he's probably, I don't know, like an hour and a half from the track, maybe. Does that sound right, guys, that watch his channel? An hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from the track each way. So anyway, yeah, give me a wrench. I'll post the most recent LTD video. Yeah, that friggin' LTD. He calls it the Bank Robber Express, the bank robber car. 4-door. It's a Fairmont, isn't it? No, it's an LTD. It's an LTD, the early 80s ones. But he power shifts the hell out of that thing. And it's fast. Like what I consider to be fast. And he's not running any nitrous. The guy doesn't run any nitrous. He runs just straight NA all the time. And it's still fast. But anyway, Pensacola, yeah. But and it's hot there too, Jody. Like he was telling me what the DA is on some of the race nights, and it's like, holy shit, how do you even make power in the air with that much humidity? You got to be dragging in like a half a quart of water into the engine every time it hits red line. But anyway, yeah. So mine's not going to be that radical, but I'm going to definitely go boost it and see if I can break something. But once I get the 8.8 in the truck too, I'm not going to baby it too much. I'll definitely be doing some burnout videos. I wanted to do one a couple times last year, but I couldn't get my cameraman, i.e. the wife, to come videotape it for me because I don't feel comfortable just leaving the camera sitting on the ground or anything like that where I live. So I got to get somebody there to friggin', is that where you're from? Jody was saying my sister lives in Pensacola and I'm from Florida. Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, so you know how hot and muggy it gets down there. But yeah, so that's the idea. So that's probably, I guess, all I really got to say, fellas, tonight, other than I enjoy hanging out with you. I want a little air grab under the front tire. Yeah, I don't see why you can't get that. I mean, see, what I was always told is that don't want it to dead hook because that's when you break shit. What you want it to do is you want it to squat and then spin a couple revolutions and then grab gradually and then bite. That's ideally what you're after. So yeah, goals, man. So that's kind of what I'm after. You guys need to put in the comment section on this video what your goals are for your stuff, and I want to start seeing some of your videos. Jody, I watched one of yours there. Sean, I'm always watching your stuff. Ford Tech, I haven't checked your stuff out in a while, but I'd like to see the latest video. And I wonder if my man is still in here. Kick-Ass Mustangs Garage, my buddy from Alabama. But anyway, I will put a link to these great people in the description. Check it out. That's pretty much it, boys. Peace out. Thumbs up for War Amp. Stay classy, fellas.